follows an extract from my book Fête Fatale, available from Amazon. Chapter 5, Part 2. In the restaurant of the Badger, most of the diners were leaning back in their chairs, and a good number of them were loosening waistbands as far as the design of various articles of clothing would allow to accommodate their increased girth. As the Badger's Michelin star's trajectory rose, a correlation occurred in the diminished availability of tables at which to dine. Fortunately, the main party of workers from the fête had booked tables well in advance, but latecomers like Jonty and his friends had had to make do with a bar meal. No doubt this was more suited to their liking, as they could sit and eat more closely situated to the beer taps. The more civilised diners began to limber up and make their way from the restaurant to join the throng and sit in the bar area, but Beth and Drew stayed standing so as to say their farewells and organise sleeping arrangements with Jonty for his friends. "I need to get home," explained Beth. "Uncle Benji said he would call me tonight to see how the fête has gone. I'll leave the back door open for you and have a selection of pillows and duvets. You'll probably have to draw straws for the beds upstairs, and those left will have to make shift on the chairs and sofa. If you want to spill over into Emma's, you better give her a call, as she won't want to be waiting up too late. Say hi to Uncle Benji from me and ask him how his quaint police band is doing," said Jonty. "I'll do no such thing," said Beth. "You can ask him yourself if you've the nerve next time you see him. I'll see you in the morning. Be quiet when you do finally decide to come home." Benedict James was Beth's twin brother and had carried on the family tradition of showing a flair for unravelling problems and mystery by climbing the ranks of the Cheshire police force, and was now a detective chief inspector at Winsford HQ. He was also first clarinetist in the police band and subject to much harmless derision from his nephew. Some years ago, Beth and Benji had joined forces in conducting research into their family history to confirm a long-held rumour that their grandmother, Agnes Healy, had been a member of the code-breaking team at Bletchley Park during the war. Between them, they had uncovered evidence to confirm the rumour and had discovered that her reputation as an invincible crossword solver and setter had brought her to the authorities' attention. After the war, not much more could be found out about her, as it wasn't something she ever talked about. Small wonder after living most of your life bound by the Official Secrets Act. Their mother, Martha James, had often told Benji that he took after his gran, but nothing was mentioned of the details of her role in intelligence during the war. It seems that after the war, Agnes settled into domestic life. She married Henry James and had Martha. Agnes had always encouraged Martha to think things through in a logical manner and was continually setting her crosswords and maths problems. From an early age, Martha said that she could remember solving simple puzzles and sitting chatting over her evening malted milk drink, having conversations on reasoning and logic with her mother. Martha James had continued this mode of impromptu education in the raising of her twins, Benedict and Beth, only giving hints at the heritage their gran had left them. It was no surprise to his mother when Benedict began to rise through the ranks of what seemed the natural profession for him. Beth had just changed into her pyjamas to ease her happily constrained waistline and was standing in the kitchen looking dejectedly at the pile of dishes still crowding the sink since breakfast time. She was saved from having to actually tackle them just then by the ringing of the telephone. Carrying the handset through to the lounge, she settled into the armchair and, tucking her legs under her, she clicked the green icon and said, "Hi Benji, how are you?" After the regulation exchange of pleasantries and inquiry after family members, they finally got down to the subject of the moment. "How did the long-awaited fête go? Did everything go to plan? I bet Emma sold out of her famous lemon curd pretty quickly," said Benedict. "She came second in both the cakes and the preserves competitions. We were really pleased. The first prize was a bit contentious though. Darcy gave joint first prize in the preserves to Phoebe and Jean. I can understand why she did though, both are really delicious, but it didn't go down too well, as you can imagine. You have all the intrigue in village life." Did plenty of visitors turn up and forego the luxury of £1 for all the delights of the fair? We did a brisk trade, and I'm sure the day was a success. We were thrown off course a bit this afternoon, though. John Barlow was found dead behind the village hall. I think I remember John. Didn't he live in that big house at the end of the village? Yes, that's him. He should have been judging the poultry competition but didn't show up. Folks were searching for him everywhere until Betty found him sitting between the bins. I don't know how long he'd been there. It's horrible to think, really. Crikey, what was he doing back there? I can't imagine Benji. Perhaps he just wanted to find a quiet spot for a while, but it's not very pleasant there. Robert Maddox and Dr. Wainwright are sorting out all the paperwork tomorrow, I think. I don't think Maddox has had to deal with a fatality before. I'm sure that Wainwright will sort him out. I was ringing to say that I'm home alone tomorrow, as Lexi has booked a train ticket to Manchester and is spending the day shopping with her sister. I was hoping that, as it's the summer holidays and you're not teaching, I could invite myself to dinner tomorrow. I could get to you by mid-morning. Would that be okay? It'd be lovely to see you, Benji. Matt's gone back home, but you might be lucky and catch Jonty before he heads back to the city. I warn you, though, he's been rehearsing some disrespectful insults about your police band. I'm sure Emma and Nathaniel will bring Primrose over. Perhaps we might strike lucky and entice Matt back for the evening. It'll be quite a family gathering. We'll see if Jonty is man enough to practice those insults to my face, hey? I'll see you as soon as I can tomorrow morning. After pleasant goodbyes until tomorrow, Beth returned to the kitchen with renewed vigour. An impromptu dinner for 7 used to be something that she could concoct without batting an eyelid not so long ago. These days it was mostly just herself and Drew, or maybe a guest or two, and so Beth decided to take the easy way out and rustle up something in the slow cooker. That way she wouldn't miss any precious family time later in the day either. She pulled a couple of packs of mince out of the freezer that she'd bagged up from her bulk buy from the abattoir next to the farm, and as a last-minute extravagance she put the oven on a low 150 degrees and whisked up 6 egg whites with sugar to make 2 meringue bases. They could be cooking for an hour as she set about clearing the dishes which would otherwise have waited until the morning. Once the dishes were done and the hour was up, she could cut the thermostat on the oven and go to bed, leaving the meringues to cool slowly overnight. It was even odds whether they would stay intact and be served tomorrow with strawberry pavlova, or if they would crumble as she removed the baking parchment and become separate servings of eaten mess. Either way, they wouldn't last long at the dinner table. Upstairs, Drew finally drifted into sleep, listening to the same noises that had awoken him earlier that day, Beth clattering around the kitchen without panache. For the full book of Fête Fatale, available in paperback or as an ebook, follow the link in the cards in the description box or find details on my website at sharonbill.com. Thanks for listening.